Lee from Pusan National University, and she got her PhD from Seoul National University in 2003 and stayed at the University of Hawaii to do research for a while, and then went to Pusan University. And she is particularly interested in the Earth system predictability on subseasonal to decadal timescales. And she's going to tell us a little bit more about the multi-year predictability of climate and ecosystem today. Okay, without further ado, I'll hand it over to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the introduction. And I'm Juniri from Pusan National University. And I'd like to thank Xiumyeong, Gokhan, and Steve for inviting me here. Somehow, it's my first time to visit Mesa Lab. So I visited Puxi Lab before, but somehow it's my first time, and it's an amazing place, and the view is fantastic. And also, I'm really enjoying snow. So in Busan, where I'm staying, actually it is very difficult to see snows, but now I'm really enjoying snows here. Okay, today this is a kind of a brief overview talk regarding our researches on multi-year climate predictability in IBS Center for Climate Physics. IBS stands for the Institute for Basic Science Center for Climate Physics, and this Earth system predictability is just one part of the mission in this IBS Center for Climate Physics called ICCP. And this is a kind of a group for this research. So first, the Axel Timmerman, he is the director of ICCP, and also I have a research group for this study, and also we have a large international kind of collaboration groups inside the Pusan National University and also in the Utah State University, mainly working with Professor Yoshi Shikamoto. And also we are having some new collaboration, especially for the marine ecosystem predictability with people in Biogeochemical Center for Climate Research. And also we have some work with people in the Nearest China and also some other part of Korea. Okay, so this is the table of content. So as you all know, there is a rapidly narrowing window of opportunity to enable climate resilient development. And also the current status is changing and context is changing. And now also we need to consider to achieve other goals in addition to the climate goals, which also include the global biodiversity framework and global health security agenda. And for that, there is increasing demand for decision-relevant and evidence-based near-term climate information to support disaster management, adaptation choices, and mitigation strategies, and in particular, the climate information at the time scale of subseasonal to decadal. That is really essential for addressing those important global goals, also including the other goals I mentioned before. And now also there are many expertise working for the decadal climate prediction here. Then there is a kind of moving toward a real-time annual to decadal climate prediction. And this is an example from WMO Global Annual to Decadal Climate Update for the next 5 years, issued on May 2023. And last year, the report indicates that the global near surface temperature rise exceeding 1.5 degrees Celsius above the pre-industrial level for at least 1 year between 2023 and 2027 is more likely than not, which is about 66%. And now, last year, the annual temperature increase was very close to the 1.5 degrees Celsius. Okay, so considering the kind of changing context and those important environmental changes, we have some important research questions in our center in the regard. Then basically there are two. One is how can we enhance our predictive capability of Earth system component, not only physical but also ecological variables on time scales of weeks to decades using improved comprehensive Earth system models and also innovative technologies. And the other is what are the essential physical and ecological sources for long-term Earth system predictability. And the figure here is I actually stole from Steve's one paper showing some potential for the prediction of marine MPP in some part of the world. So to address those questions, recently, we developed the multi-year prediction system, but basically utilizing CSM2. But before introduce details of the system, so I will introduce some of modeling activities in general in our center. And we also cover the large time scales from subcentennial to decadal to centennial. But our model is mainly based on the CSM model. And today, I will mainly focus on the multi-year prediction system based on CSM2. But also, we utilize the CSM2 large ensemble simulation under historical and SSP3 7.0 simulation. That was mainly collaborated with the people in NCAR. And the main leader in our center was Keith Rogers and Sun-Sang Lee. But unfortunately, Keith is left our center to Japan. But anyway, yeah, we had a lot of interesting activities utilizing the CSM2 large ensemble simulation. And also currently we are developing climate ice sheet coupled pressure system based on the CSM1 2.2 and Penn State University ice sheet model. Then also in the short term, also this is also my main interest, but I will not going to talk about this one, but also we are doing some sub-seasonal to seasonal prediction activities utilizing both dynamical prediction and also AI-based global climate model. Okay, then this is the brief introduction of our multi-year prediction system. So basically, we utilize this CSM2, and we also pick up several ensemble members from CSM2 large ensemble simulations, and then we apply anomaly ocean data assimilation. So this is a 3D anomaly ocean data assimilation with the ocean temperature and salinity. And then with this ocean assimilation as initial condition, we performed the hindcast currently for the up to 5 years, initiated from every January 1st. Then also we are doing some other predictability experiment, but today I will mainly talk about the result from data assimilation, our hindcast, and also CSM large ensemble simulation to estimate the first response in the prediction. And the target variables we are interested in currently include large-scale circulation and most of climate variability, soil moisture, vegetation, and MPP, net primary productivity in the ocean and also in the land, wildfire, dust, carbon cycle, marine ecosystem, I already mentioned, and also the statistics of climate streams. But still, most of the studies are ongoing. So today I will show some of the example, and still we need more time to finalize those results, but I'm sure that you will be interested in seeing some of our recent activities. Okay. Then to estimate the predictability of climate and ecosystem, we utilize this 3D ocean anomaly data simulation. And for that, we use 3 different ocean analyses from ECMWF, Japan Meteorological Administration, and UKMO. So there are 30 member assimilations, so 10 member each from 3 different ocean analyses. Then also we use the full forcing. There's a combination of historical forcing and SSP3 7.0 forcing up to 2021 from 2015. Then we perform this ocean anomaly data assimilation. But we still plan to do further experiment, especially we are interested in partial ocean assimilation, and also atmospheric nudging and ocean and atmospheric coupled nudging. And the comparison between assimilation and large ensemble simulation, then we can identify the effects of anthropogenic and natural forcings, and also the effect of ocean assimilation on climate variability. Okay, and this is the example. So this is for the rainfall. So here we compare the assimilated rainfall and observation here. And this is the simulated rainfall in the large simulation and observation. And in our simulation, there is no initial input from land, but still over the many part of the land, we do see some useful skill. The figure shown here is the anomaly correlation coefficient with respect to GPCP precipitation from 1960 to 2016, and this is the annual mean field. And with just the external forcing, we also do see some of the signals of the land, but in the historical field, still there is not clear emergence of precipitation change. And then this is the difference between two correlation fields indicating the effect of ocean assimilation. And in particular, over the tropical land region, there are some very useful skills we can see from ocean assimilation. And this is for the sea level pressure, so basically showing the effect to atmospheric circulation. From the ocean simulation, and this is from the large ensemble simulation, and those are difference. So for the atmospheric circulation, we can see the large impact from ocean assimilation over many parts of the globe, particularly over the tropics, but also some part of eastern tropics, ocean and land region. We also compare this ocean simulation with the AMIT type simulation using the CAM6. So there are also, there is kind of pros and cons, and there are more skills from atmospheric only circulation indicated by blue color, but over some other region, especially over the tropical ocean, we do see the more impact from ocean and more skill from ocean simulation. Okay, and as I mentioned, using this ocean simulation as initial condition, we perform for some hindcast experiment, mainly starting from January 1st for the next 5 years. And currently there are 30 members, but 10 members simulation hindcast is up to 2016. So the result I will show from now on is basically using 20 members. And also, this is more our long-term plan. So we also want to do more seasonal initialization for our prediction for 10-year integration. But currently, we have a short of computer power. So basically, today, I will show this January 1st initial condition hindcast for 5-year integration. And also, we plan to do more experiment. Particularly, I am very much interested in the hindcast experiment with the free forcing but aerosol or free forcing but volcano to identify some role of individual external forcing for multi-year prediction. And then from now on, I will show some of the results and basically comparing between assimilation and hindcast, removing large ensemble simulation signal, we can estimate the predictability from ocean internal variability. And also there are some results to show the comparison between the hindcast and observation, removing this external forcing signal. Then we can see some more actual prediction skill from ocean internal variability. Okay. Then the first part, I will introduce some of results for estimating predictability of climate and ecosystem. Then currently, this is the ongoing work, and we are trying to find a more optimal way to estimate the kind of predictability. The figure shown here is kind of conventional approach. So to estimate the predictability, we use the anomaly correlation coefficient between ocean assimilation and hindcast. So that is a kind of upper limit of predictability. And in this result, it also includes the signal from external forcing. But if we just compare the ocean assimilation and large ensemble simulation, then also there are high scale. So basically, the external force signal provide a very high scale for multi-year climate variability. And this is a difference between two fields, so that we can identify some effect of ocean assimilation and ocean internal dynamics for those climate variability. So this was a kind of the conventional way to do. And recently, actually, we trying to utilize other way. So the upper result is based on the ensemble mean field. So before calculating the correlation, we take the ensemble mean for ocean assimilation and ensemble mean for large ensemble simulation. Then over the land region, since there is a reduction of atmospheric noise, so the signal pi is much larger. So somehow we overestimate the predictability for those variability. So we believe it may be better to use the individual ensemble member relationship. So figure shown here, we first calculate the correlation between individual ensemble of ocean assimilation and individual ensemble member of large ensemble simulation, so that we can capture this internal variability in the calculation. Then we make the average of individual calculation. Then there are some reduction of kind of a scale compared to those ensemble mean approach. However, if we apply this way, then actually we can see larger impact from the ocean internal variability for those predictability. So if we just use the ensemble mean, then the signal is mainly focused over the ENSO region and AMV region, and so some part of the ocean region. But if we also consider the full internal dynamics in the calculation, then we can see larger impact from ocean internal variability in the correlation over many parts of the globe. So here is for the surface air temperature, and I will show the other examples. Here is SST, so similar to the surface temperature. Then this is the result for the SSH. So basically, this is the difference between this ODA based ODA and large ensemble simulation. So in the SSH, interestingly, we can find for the similar to the SST. So in the SSH, we can see more signal from ocean dynamics in the predictability. But if we check the marine MPP, then the signal is reduced in this ensemble kind of a member assessment. So we are still working on better understanding the meaning of this result, but I think we believe this is actually meaningful, and since there is no constraint in this marine MPP, and if we consider this internal variability, then there may be some reduction in the predictability in the MPP. But we still need to work more to better understand the source of predictability for these marine ecosystems. Okay, and let's move to the atmospheric part and land the terrestrial part. So here, the left-hand side is the sea level pressure. Then in this case, we for the land and atmospheric part, actually in this individual member approach show the reduction of the signal. But I think this is also maybe natural because there is no constraint for the atmospheric circulation and land processes in our ocean assimilation system. But the signal seems quite explainable, and we now see the kind of large scale over the tropical ocean domain, which may be associated with most of climate variability. And this is for the precipitation. So using the ensemble mean approach, and it seems like there may be some overestimation for the predictability limit, but utilizing this individual member approach, then we can maybe better estimate the predictability signal from this ocean dynamics or mode of climate variability. And here is the total water storage. Then also there are some reduction of signal, but now we may see more realistic signal from ocean dynamics. And in particular, there are quite high signal over USA and also northern part of South America and some part of Maritime continent. Then this is a few other examples for the terrestrial ecosystem. So gross primary productivity here, leap area index, and this one is the burned area for wildfire occurrence. So there are some kind of reduction similar to the previous study, the result. But if we see those GPP, leaf area index, and boundary area, and their predictability signal are associated with the soil moisture signal and also rainfall and large circulation signal, we can see from the previous result. Okay. All right, so those parts for the estimating predictability of climate and ecosystem. And from now on, I will show some of real forecast scale, particular for the temperature and precipitation and some modes of climate variability. And last part is the statistics of climate extremes. Okay, and here is the actual scale for annual mean surface temperature with the different lead year, and those are all the annual mean variables. And here is the correlation between hindcast and observation at first year forecast, first lead time, second, and 5 months lead time, and up to the 5 year, as you can see from the other result from other centers and other models. There are some long-term scale in the surface temperature over the many parts of the globe. However, those scales are mainly from actually external forcing. So here, this is the correlation between mean of large ensemble simulation and observation. So basically, this is a scale from external forcing, and there are very high scale over many parts. And also in the land region, we can see the large signals. So basically, this high scale is mainly from this external forcing. But nonetheless, we found that there are some useful scale from internal variability. So the correlate scale here is the scale excluding the scale from the forcing. So we remove the mean of large ensemble simulation from our hindcast, then calculate the correlation with the observation. Then in the first year, so over the most of the part, then there are some scale more than 0.5, and there are some reduction with the increasing of a focus lead, but still in the, this is the first year focus lead. Then still there are some signal left over many land area. Then this is the time series. This is the global mean surface temperature in the observation black line, assimilation red line. Then green line is the mean of large ensemble simulation for estimating the first response. And then we have a hindcast with different lead time as a blue line. And you can see that first, this large ensemble will capture this external signal. Then also assimilation better capture the multi-year temperature variability, and the hindcast also captures some part of this ocean-driven climate variability part in the time series. Okay, and then this is for the precipitation. So very challenging, and we all know that it is really challenging. But still, we found some ski over some region, in particular over the western part of the North America and northern part of South America. Unfortunately, the ski is very limited in East Asia, where I'm living. And, but The other region, we do see some ski, particularly in the lead year. But lead year ski also include the ski from forcing. But if we just calculate the ski from the internal variability, then still there are some useful skill over many parts of the land domain. But the ski decrease with lead time very quickly compared to surface temperature. Okay, then I will show the presence of modal variability. Two examples, El Nino third oscillation and Atlantic multi-decadal variability. Here is the time series of monthly Nino 3.4 index from, I think, this 1970 to 2021. The black line is the observation. And then here, the different color indicate the prediction with different lead. And this is a kind of a summary of the scale, kind of busy diagram, but I think this includes a lot of important information here. So here we have two kind of baseline prediction, kind of null hypothesis model result. The blue dashed line is the kind of damp persistence scale, which is usually used for the reference for answer prediction in many papers. Then we actually include one more reference forecast utilizing AI1 statistical model, so which is the blue line. And we believe this AI1 ski may be better for our null hypothesis model to compare with our hindcast. Then here there are kind of busy plot. So there is a star dot. So this is the scale from individual ensemble members. Then we have this green square dot. This is a scale from ensemble mean. Then this circle dot is the average scale from individual ensemble members. So in general, we show the scale from ensemble mean, and there may be actually kind of upper limit of scale we can obtain. But in that case, we also maybe lose some of kind of signal from internal variability. So we believe it may be also important to analyze and understand the characteristics of individual member scales. So anyway, so this is for the SST index. And then also we calculate the scale for Nino 3.4 rainfall index. Of course, for the rainfall case, since there is no constraint for this length component, there are the ensemble space is much larger. But interestingly, some of the ensemble members actually have a better scale than ensemble mean field. So now one of my students is actually investigating the characteristics of individual members which show good skill. But this is still ongoing research. But anyway, utilizing our anomaly ocean assimilation, it seems like there is some use of skill for ENSO, SST, and rainfall, maybe up to 16 months. But remember that our model prediction start from January 1st. From January 1st, then we can expect higher scale for the ENSO compared to the prediction starting from spring or summer. Okay, and this is the other. And for this figure, also we have a kind of baseline scale from large assimilation. So this line indicates the scale from external forcing. So basically the correlation between observation and mean of large ensemble simulation. So we can regard this may be some kind of a portion from external forcing. But as we all know, this first signal is very weak for ENSO, and which is clearly seen from here. So correlation is quite low. But at least for the rainfall case, there is more externally driven signal in the index, and about the 5% of variability can be explained by external forcing. Okay. Then let me move to the Atlantic multi-decadal variability. So here we use the AMV index defined from Chambers and Shea method. So we also apply the other method and also the recent method by Clara Desert. Then for the hindcast period, we found that the sensitivity of using different index is very low. But for the future projection, actually it matters a lot. But anyway, for this study, we decided to just use this Chambers and Shea method. And here, the figure in your left show the time series of AMV. So here, the color indicate the observation. And then the green line indicate the mean of ocean assimilation. Then I think we should, yeah, and the kind of yellow line is the kind of mean of large ensemble simulation. Then the light line indicate the individual hindcast time series, again annual mean from 1960 to 2021. And differently from ENSO, so AMV include a large external force signal. So in this case, the correlation between observation and mean of a large ensemble is about more than 0.5. So about the 30% of variability can be explained by externally driven signal. Then similar to before, so we have two baseline, then persistency and AR1 process. Then we have individual 20-member individual scale, and then this is the mean of scale from ensemble mean. But here, the figure, we didn't apply any filtering. So you can see that the scale seems maybe lower than the scale from the other kind of researches and papers where they usually apply the filtering. So we also apply the 10-year filtering similar to the previous studies. Then we can have more signal. But also the high signal maybe also due to those filtering. So for the other analysis, actually we just using the index without filtering. In particular, we are interested in the kind of predictability and prediction for multi-years, not the decadal time scale yet. So now we are just utilizing this non-filtered annual time series. But anyway, so this is the kind of scale just considering the long-term variation of AMV here. Since the externally driven signal is also quite large in AMV, so also we try to estimate the AMV scale just from the internal variability. So to do that, we remove the signal from mean of large ensemble simulation from our hindcast. Then we calculate the scale. Then the scale, just considering this ocean internal variability, is about 0.57 at first read, and it decreased a little bit, but still there are some scale remain here. Okay, then we are currently investigating the prediction of AMV teleconnection, and today I will show just one example. So here is just the surface temperature, and I'm sorry for the different mapping. So this is the teleconnection pattern in the observation. And here is the teleconnection pattern in the assimilation. But again, to calculate this field, we just first calculate this individual member teleconnection and then make the average. And this is the feed from large ensemble simulation. So in our large ensemble simulation, actually the kind of signal from AMV on the global temperature is kind of weak, but with more realistic SST AMV variability, then we can have a more realistic teleconnection pattern. Then this is the teleconnection in the first year hindcast and 5-year hindcast. But once we start the prediction, then the system actually move toward their internal characteristics, internal model characteristics, like the figure shown in this large ensemble simulation result. So there is a reduction of signal, especially with a longer time lead, and they looks more similar to this large simulation. But in the first year lead, and it show more close to the observation and assimilated field. And now we are investigating this kind of teleconnection pattern for the other variables, also including the marine and terrestrial ecosystems. Okay, and this is the last part of my result. And this is an example for the prediction of statistics of climate extremes. Here is the example for the heat waves. And for heat waves, we define the heat wave occurrence for the more than 3 consecutive days exceeding the 90th percentile of 2-meter air temperature. So basically, here y-axis indicate the days for heat waves. And those are the time series, average over the globe, and this is the average over the northern hemisphere. And here the black line indicate the observation, ERA5 result, and then the yellow orange line is the time series from large ensemble simulation. Then we have the individual line for different focus release time. So basically, for the statistics of climate extremes, especially this is the frequency case, there is a very strong external signal, increasing signal, mainly due to this anthropogenic forcing over globe and particularly over the northern hemisphere. And this large ensemble simulation capture this one, and hindcast mainly capture this one. So the ski in the hindcast mainly come from the external forcing. Then there are some ski from the internal variability, but I don't have the figure here. But here, this is the kind of total scale, including the externally driven signal, the scale, focus scale in the lead year 1, lead year 3, and lead year 5. Since there are large increasing signal of the frequency of heat wave occurrence, there are quite useful scale up to 5 years. But those are mainly due to these externally driven signals. But this is a very initial result, so we are still working on that. Okay, so today I just show our research activities for multi-year predictability and prediction, mainly utilizing this our multi-year Earth system prediction system based on CSM2 model. And I show that there are some potential scale for and predictability for not only the climate variables, but also for the terrestrial and marine ecosystems. And this is kind of a summary of our ongoing studies, and I show some of the results from individual projects. So currently, Dr. Yong-Hyuk Kim and also Eun-Young Park, Eun-Young Kwon, they are mainly working on the impact of initialization on marine ecosystem prediction, and also the driving mechanisms for long-term predictability of marine ecosystem. And for this study, we are collaborating with people, Ingo and Filippo at Berkeley Center for Climate Research. And also, we are working on the predictability of La Nina and the role of trans-basin interaction, particularly for the triple La Nina cases recently, and mainly the Professor Yoshi Shikamoto at Utah State University and his student is working on this. And also, I show some part of the result. So we are working on the predictability of Atlantic climate variability. And one of my students, Abhinav, and also Professor Wonson Park recently joined to our center. So we are together working on this work. And the last part is for the prediction of statistics of extreme event. So one of my postdoctoral fellow, Alexia Kawat, is working on that. And for this one, we are collaborating with Professor Christian Planck, who is also in our center right now as professor, and also working with Professor Ha in Pusan National University for this one. And for this study, we also have external collaboration in the health side. So also we are working on kind of a health impact in this our prediction system, and also there are other studies going on. Okay, so this is kind of an introduction our study, and I really hope that we can expand our collaboration with the people here. In particular, we are utilizing this CSM2, and you also have a hindcast with a different initialization. Okay, that's all my presentation. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you. So we do have a lot of time for questions. Could you actually turn on the ceiling mic, because there is actually no noise outside? Okay. Is it good? Okay.
On one of your slides, I think it was for modes of variability. It was quite early on. It's when you have, yeah, sorry, the other one. Yeah, open. Yeah. The other one. Yes, this one. Just, first of all, thank you for the talk. The green and the two green ones, I was confused. They show a bit of a hump on the left-hand side picture. So you see between 8 and 16 lead months, the skill score rises again. I was wondering why that is, or if that's just like an artifact or something.
So I think that's because of this ENSO seasonality. So this is one of the limitations right now in our system, because we just have this January 1st initial condition. So basically, this is January to, this is the summertime, and then for winter, something like that. So there are some scale drop during this boreal spring and summer, but then some signal come again from the fall season. So I think this is mainly due to this ENSO seasonality.
Okay.
Okay, other questions? We have Ben.
Thanks for the talk. It's really neat to see this initialized with data assimilation, which is something that we're talking about here as well. I have first a couple of clarifying questions. So do I understand that you're using 3D VAR for temperature and salinity? And then when you do the data assimilation, are you running the model in a coupled framework, or is it forced by the atmosphere, like a data or observed atmosphere?
So yeah, good question. So basically, this is a coupled run, but we just constrain this ocean information. And there is no actually constrained information from atmosphere in this case. So basically, the signal we can see is from ocean initial condition or kind of modes of variability in the ocean.
Great. And so then I guess a follow-up. So for the 3D VAR, how are you putting together your covariance that you're using, your prior covariance? And do you find that that is giving you enough spread for when you initialize your predictability experiments?
There is another very good question. So for this assimilation, so I don't know the details well because mainly this was done by Dr. Yong-hyuk Kim and also Professor Yoshi Shikamuro. But they told me that actually there are enough spread in this assimilation. So I don't know details, but yeah, that part I can say yes.
Thank you.
So, what do you mean by partial ocean assimilations?
Right, so for the current result, so we assimilate the ocean over the globe. But also we can do this using the Pacific or Atlantic, like kind of pace, kind of experiment. Then also we can see the signal just from kind of Pacific and Atlantic, something like that.
So what's the advantage of doing that over assimilating everywhere?
Right, so this is mainly to address the source of predictability. So particularly for this ENSO. Also, there are some kind of signal from the other ocean bases, right? So using those partial assimilation, we expect we can further investigate the signal coming from the different ocean bases. Already there are several works using the CSL1 and show some of kind of interesting, I think, features. And also we'd like to apply to CSL2 to further investigate. Yes.
It may not be a completely fair question, but because your work's a little distant from this, but you spent quite a lot of time talking about the predictability over different timescales of various composited diagnostics that describe the sort of atmosphere. Do we have a sense for what kind of skill is needed to be usable by users and what kind of diagnostics they need and how these link to what you're looking at?
Yeah, so that is a really good question, and that is my kind of ultimate goal to go further. Because also recently I'm interacting with many other kind of policymakers and end users, and for them, actually the current climate information is not that useful for their decision making, and it really depends on the time scales. Here I introduced two ENSO and AMV1, and they also have a different time scales. And usually also we provide ensemble mean result, which may lose some of important information. So they really need a kind of full PDF of climate information across different time scales. But anyway, to make the better regional and climate information, that I found that we really need to work with those end users in their purpose. So here, still my talk is more kind of climate scientist focused talk, but for more and better kind of application, then I think we really need to work with the end users and their side. And for that, actually, we really need better regional information. So here, still the model is 1 degree resolution, so there is not enough for kind of utilization. That's why recently we are also using AI, so for kind of downscaling and also filling the gap for the time scales. But I feel like still this is kind of infant stage for those applications. And also I contributed to AR6, IPCC6 assessment report for working group 1 report and synthesis report, and also working and collaborate with the people in other field. Then I also feel that our climate information is not that ready for adaptation and also addressing some of the mitigation questions. And those questions are more regional and more short-term. And even for the climate information and even the substantial information is also very important for many occasions. But still, many users, they require multi-year information. Then the signal is really limited over the certain domains. So my main work is to better identify the region for better information in particular time scales. But I think this is the initial stage, and we need to work more.
It's great that you're working with users, and so you've got some sense of what the priorities are. And I guess I'm familiar with the types of decisions that are made on seasonal timescales, like you said, where it's a bit more understood and there's a bit more skill. As you go to some of these longer lead times that you were looking at, can you give an example of a user and a type of decision that's made on a prediction of something that's going to happen over 2 or 3 years?
Right, yes. So one of the example is kind of health application. So also we do see some signal emergence in the health side from climate changes. And in many cases, they require the seasonal information for also the kind of government or local government level. They actually need the kind of more long-term information for the next 1 or 2, 3 years, because for kind of preparation, they need a little bit longer time frame for the preparation. So they require whether there will be more occurrence of heat waves or more occurrence of rainfall during the maybe later summer or early summer, 1 or 3 years ahead. So they require that kind of information, but I found that still, our climate information is not ready to address that kind of request.
All right. We have time for one last question, Ina.
I didn't fully grasp why you preferred the skill metric, taking the correlation with the members first compared to the ensemble mean. I guess you're adding in the unpredictable noise on the model side. Why is that preferable to getting rid of that in your skill metric?
Right, so this is actually our current kind of discussion point among our people collaborating this work. So usually, I think the ensemble mean approach is preferable because we reduce the noise. But we can reduce some noise, but in many cases, we also reduce some kind of signal from internal variability. So that one is still, we need to think about more. And also, we have observation is one realization. And we have a lot of model simulation. Then just comparing between one observed realization and mean of large ensemble hindcast or assimilation or large ensemble, then we found that to do that, we may be able to increase the signal, but we may lose some of the important signal from kind of internal variability. So there should be better way to better separate the one. But I think this is a very important kind of further study we need to do.
Okay, let's thank our speaker again for her briefing.
Thursday.
Okay.